You may notice it in small moments. Someone asks for a favor, and before you have even checked your energy, you say yes. A family member calls with another crisis, and you immediately become calm, useful, and available. Someone disappoints you, but instead of saying so, you explain their behavior to yourself until your own hurt disappears from the conversation. From the outside, this can look like kindness. And often, it is kindness. But after decades of being the patient one, the dependable one, the person who understands, kindness can begin to feel less like a choice and more like a role you are no longer allowed to leave. That is when emotional exhaustion begins to hide inside good intentions. Kind people are often praised for what they can absorb. They listen longer. They forgive faster. They notice what others need before anyone asks. They soften their words, lower their expectations, and make room for everyone else's discomfort. Over time, people may come to depend not only on their kindness, but on their silence. The difficult part is that this pattern rarely feels harmful at first. It feels responsible, mature, loving. You may believe that keeping the peace is better than creating tension, that saying yes is easier than explaining no, or that your needs can wait because someone else is struggling more. But needs that are postponed do not disappear. They often return as fatigue, resentment, numbness, or the sudden desire to withdraw from everyone. After 50, this can become especially visible. The pace of life changes. Certain roles begin to loosen. Children may need you differently. Work may no longer provide the same identity. Relationships that once ran on habit become harder to ignore. And the emotional cost of always being available becomes more difficult to disguise. You may find yourself irritated by requests that once seemed small. You may stop answering messages quickly. You may crave silence, cancel plans, or feel guilty for wanting distance from people you genuinely love. This does not necessarily mean you have become cold. It may mean your inner life is no longer willing to pay the same price for belonging. Many kind people learned early that being easy to love was safer than being fully known. They became skilled at reading the room, avoiding conflict, and adjusting themselves before anyone else had to adjust. They discovered that approval often arrived when they were helpful, pleasant, forgiving, or undemanding. Years later, that lesson may still be operating quietly. If I am useful, I will remain important. If I do not create problems, I will remain loved. If I understand everyone, no one will leave. These beliefs are not always conscious. They can feel like personality. You may simply think, this is who I am. But there is a difference between kindness that comes from freedom and kindness that comes from fear. Kindness from freedom can say yes without resentment and no without cruelty. Kindness from fear says yes while the body tightens, smiles while anger grows, and gives while secretly hoping someone will finally notice the cost. Imagine a fictional woman named Helen, 58, who has spent most of her life being the reliable person in her family. She remembers birthdays, organizes gatherings, checks on aging relatives, and listens to problems late at night. Everyone describes her as strong and generous. But lately, Helen has started feeling exhausted before family events even begin. She becomes impatient over small things, then criticizes herself for not being more understanding. She tells herself that other people have bigger problems. So she continues helping, but with less warmth and more internal resistance. Helen's exhaustion is not proof that she no longer cares. It is information. It is showing her that care without limits has slowly turned into self-abandonment. This is where many kind people become confused. They assume the solution is to become less caring. They imagine that boundaries require hardness, confrontation, or selfishness. So they wait until they are completely depleted, then pull away suddenly. Others feel surprised because they never saw the years of quiet overextension that came before the distance. A boundary spoken early is usually gentler than resentment expressed late. It can sound simple, I cannot do that this week. I can listen for a few minutes, but I do not have the energy for a long conversation. I care about you, and I need time to think. That does not work for me. These sentences may feel uncomfortable because they change the role people expect you to play. Some may respect the change. Others may resist it. Their disappointment can awaken old guilt, especially if you have spent years believing that a good person should always be available. But another person's disappointment is not always evidence that you have done something wrong. Sometimes, it is simply evidence that the relationship is adjusting to a more honest version of you. The deeper shift is not learning how to say no. It is learning that your value does not increase every time you make yourself smaller. That is the inversion kind people often discover later in life. Emotional exhaustion is not caused by caring too much. It is caused by carrying responsibilities that were never fully yours, hiding feelings that needed expression, and treating constant availability as proof of love. Real kindness does not require you to disappear. It includes kindness toward the part of you that is tired. The part that wants quiet. The part that has opinions, limits, preferences, and a life that does not need to be justified by usefulness. This does not mean measuring every relationship like a transaction. It means noticing whether your generosity is alive or automatic. Before saying yes, pause long enough to ask, do I truly want to do this? Do I have the capacity? Am I offering care, or am I trying to prevent guilt, rejection, or conflict? That pause may feel selfish at first. In reality, it gives your kindness honesty. You may also need to let people solve problems you could easily solve for them. Not because you do not care, but because rescuing someone repeatedly can keep both of you trapped in old roles. They remain dependent, and you remain necessary. Being needed can feel like love, but it is not always the same thing. As you practice a different kind of kindness, some relationships may become quieter. Some may become more mutual. A few may reveal that they were built mainly around what you provided. That realization can hurt, but it also creates space for relationships in which you are valued for your presence, not only your usefulness. After 50, emotional maturity may look less like enduring everything gracefully and more like refusing to abandon yourself in order to appear good. You can remain compassionate without absorbing every crisis. You can understand someone without excusing what hurts you. You can love people and still limit their access to your time, energy, and peace. The goal is not to stop being kind. It is to make kindness a choice again. And perhaps the most honest question is not, how can I do more for everyone, but, what would kindness look like if I were included in it? If this reflection felt familiar, consider sharing in the comments where kindness has become exhausting in your own life. Sometimes naming the pattern is the first step toward changing the role.